Hey guys, want to make this video tonight real quick. I haven't been able to upload to my channel for a week. I had a strike on my last video, the CDC COVID camp video. If you want to watch that, you can go ahead and check out my Bitchute, brand new tube, LBRY 3Speak, YouTube is dead. They're going to delete my channel sooner or later. They've already gotten, rid of tons of people recently in a big purge. So don't expect me to be on here any longer, just expect the worst and prepare for the best. So go ahead and check out those alternative platforms. There's so much to cover, so much I've been wanting to cover this week and just haven't been able to. But I'm going to cover this specific thing tonight and just kind of reiterate a few things that I've been covering in my videos since I started doing this. This article is from informationliberation.com, and basically Ticketmaster is creating a method where they're going to verify whether or not you've been vaccinated before issuing you a concert pass. And they're gonna partner up with these health pass companies to make sure, and verify whether or not you've been tested or not to get an actual, concert pass. And then once you do, probably test you again when you're there just to basically make sure. But this is all ridiculous, you know what I mean? For a disease which admittedly has a 99+% survival rate. For people who are, 70 plus, it's 94.6. So, still pretty high. But this is their little method right here. Upon buying a ticket, fans would be required to either verify their vaccination status or prove they have tested negative for coronavirus within 72 hours prior to the concert dates. Regional health authorities would determine the length of coverage for any test. After being tested, customers would authorize a lab to share their results with a health pass company such as IBM or Clear, according to the report. If one of the requirements was met, the health pass company would verify the information with Ticketmaster, which would then release the tickets to the customer. Any fan who tested positive or failed to verify vaccination status would be denied access to the event. So, this is where it's going to basically happen. Little things like this, it's going to start with, hey, you can't go to concerts, oh, you can't get on a bus, oh, you can't get on a plane, and then it's, oh, you can't get a job, you can't go to school. It's going to be everywhere. Checkpoints, military on the street, you name it, full lockdown, new world order while they start the culling. And that's basically what's happening. We got about 5 years before most of us are dead, and we have to stop it now, because if we don't, we will never get a chance. Remember, this is a disease that they are adamant you get a vaccination for. They are programming and socially engineering the public so much as of recent to basically push them in the direction of getting vaccines. As Bill Gates said, this will be the decade of vaccines, right? And by the way, I read a nasty conspiracy theory about Bill Gates, and it just made me so mad I had to basically cover it. Now this right here, factcheck.org, I did make a video pretty early on when I started doing these YouTube videos and had bad quality computer and all that. I covered this, and I think it's a good way to basically show people how easy it is to connect the dots in this type of thing, and how people who talk about these things are not conspiracy theorists. They're rational, reasonable, intelligent people, and you're not one of them if you can't see it. Your brain just simply does not work properly. And I will explain it. It's ABC 2 plus 2, and you can't refute it. I mean, you can try, but you'll sound ridiculous. So check this out, factcheck.org, right? Conspiracy theory misinterprets goals of Gates Foundations. Okay, posted on April 14th, 2020. And I'm just going to read the quick take. You can go ahead and read the whole thing, but I'm just going to do this just for the sake of time. A conspiracy theory falsely claims Bill Gates is plotting to use COVID-19 testing and a future vaccine to track people with microchips. The Gates Foundation has advocated for expanded testing and has funded vaccine research, but neither of those involves implanted microchips. Okay, all right. Who owns factcheck.org? Well, it's the LBRY Foundation. The LBRY Foundation is a family foundation that provides funding and support for nonprofit organizations in the United States and around the world. Okay, sounds noble. The LBRY Foundation owns the not-for-profit website factcheck.org. Factcheck.org, which we just read. Okay. Which describes itself as a service to reduce confusion over U.S. politics. Okay. The LBRY Foundation receives grants from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Wait a second, weren't they just debunking conspiracy theories about them? You couldn't possibly tell me they're getting funding and grants directly by them. Huh. Well, I'll be damned, huh? Right? Oh, well, that's just a conspiracy. Don't believe your lying eyes. They don't pay them money. They're not trying to inject you with a digital, implant to track you. They would never partner with ID 2020, which is a global initiative to get people a digital ID. And they also wouldn't partner with the Global Vaccine Alliance. Oh, hey, Microsoft. Oh, hey, Rockefeller Foundation. These are all just coincidences. Bill Gates associated with Microsoft, Bill Gates partnering with Gavi, Bill Gates partnering with ID 2020, Bill Gates giving money to the Annenberg Foundation, which is paid to debunk conspiracy theories about just that, by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, direct checks to them. Why would a digital ID initiative partner with a vaccine alliance, if not to logically inject you with a digital ID? Use your head. Please use all that meat in the center of your skull God gave you. Please refute this. Please logically refute why a digital ID initiative would partner with the Gavi, Global Vaccine Alliance, basically. Global Alliance for Vaccines, whatever you want to call them. If not to logically inject you with a digital identity. What other reason? Just the association would be enough circumstantial evidence and inference to make any reasonable person go, whoa, 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 whoa. But admitting it is a whole other level, and people still don't see it. Okay, you want to talk a little bit more about ID 2020? Well, here's a conference with Dakota Grono, I think that's how you say her name, Grenier, I don't know, Executive Director, ID 2020. Listen to what she has to say.
Berkeley to Brown ends up working on global identity for 1 billion people.
Sure. Well, first, thank you guys so much. It definitely wasn't planned that way. And like you, a recovering management consultant, so I've spent time in that space. I went to Brown intent on working in global health policy. It had struck me that that was the area where one could have outsized impact using tools and technologies that we'd already developed. So it wasn't about curing cancer, it wasn't something wildly unknown, but it was about taking to scale approaches that had long been proven, vaccines.
Oh, so you want to use vaccines to give people a digital identity, in your own words, Executive Director of the program. So it wasn't just me inferring it and arriving at the logical conclusion that that is the case, which it is. Anyone with a functioning brain would know that. The Executive Director of the program admitted as much on camera in 2017. Let me play it again.
Just not completely intuitive to me how Berkeley to Brown ends up working on global identity for 1 billion people.
Sure. Well, first, thank you guys so much. It definitely wasn't planned that way. And
I love how she has to lead it with that. It definitely wasn't planned that way. No one's really challenging you that it was, but you definitely had to make that clear, didn't you?
like you, a recovering management consultant, so I've spent time in that space. I went to Brown intent on working in global health policy. It had struck me that that was the area where one could have outsized impact using tools and technologies that we'd already developed. So it wasn't about curing cancer, it wasn't something wildly unknown, but it was about taking to scale approaches that had long been proven, vaccines, malarial bed nets, et cetera. And that was really the sort of impetus, was huge outcomes using things that we knew how to move forward. I graduated.
Yeah, I don't need to hear your life story. But yeah, I mean, listen to her in her own words, telling you how they're going to use vaccines to give you a digital identity. By the way, only for 1 billion people. If you didn't know, the plan was to get the population under 500 million. So, get hip to that if you haven't. But I'm not going to keep this video running any longer. You guys can look this up yourselves if you want. I'm not lying to you. Like I said, this is ABC 2+2. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation pays money to the Annenberg Foundation, who own factcheck.org, who are debunking conspiracy theories about the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, funding and researching vaccines to use to give you an implanted microchip. They partner with ID 2020, which just admitted that they want to use vaccines to give you a digital identity. partnered with Microsoft. Bill Gates partnered with Gavi. They also partnered with Gavi. Bill Gates was the CEO and co-founder of Microsoft. This is so easy and so in your face that if you don't see it, you are a stupid person. I really don't know what to tell you. And I'm sorry that that is the case and that you have to go through life not being able to think properly. Honestly, being able to think properly makes life a living hell. Just being able to see everything going around or going on around you, and people just seem to not care. They want to cover frivolous things. They want to talk about how this person's a shill, that person's a shill, etc., etc. They want to get into the cult of personality, fall into the left and right paradigm, focus on things that absolutely don't matter, and achieve nothing. Meanwhile, you know, these people run roughshod over us. It's like we're so divided, it's not even funny. So stop following all this election nonsense. Stop following the left and right nonsense. Focus on what matters, which is not getting a vaccination, which will give a chip into your body that wasn't there before, which will track and monitor everything you do. So don't do that. Please don't do that. Do not comply. If you comply, it is over. Forever. Please understand that. There is no going back. Period. Don't get the vaccination.